Hey, who is the person in your life that inspires the most confidence in you? Today we're talking about the art of empowering others. This is a part 3 in our 3-part series of developing leaders. So today we're talking about the art of empowering. I want you to think back, recent past, long past. Who is it that inspires the most confidence in you? You leave their presence, you feel empowered, you feel able, you feel like you can do it. Who's that person? And what is it that they do that leaves you feeling that way?
That's a good question.
Coach John Wooden has said the difference between a successful coach and a great coach is the ability to inspire and empower their players. The ability to inspire and empower. Personally, I think that empowering starts with our attitude and our demeanor.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel that, positive and encouraging language, right? That's going to be key when you want to empower other people. No one's empowered by negativity or discouraging encounters.
Focusing on what can be done, not what can't be done.
Yeah.
What should be, not what won't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some deep thoughts when you talk about how it is that we can empower other people. But one quick tip that for me that I try to practice is, empowering others is like hydration. It's little amounts often. If you come into a room and you're just like Mr. Empower Pants, like people are going to see that that fake,
Like that.
So just kind of come into it with these little everyday encounters. I mean, you could empower somebody by holding the door open for them. You know what I mean? Because it's contagious, stuff like that.
It is.
So start small is what I would say, and learn the art of empowering by thinking about it like hydration, little amounts often. So here we go. The art of empowering others. You want to develop leaders? Empowering is going to be key.
It is. And there's this whole mindset to it, and then in delivering it, but there's also the mindset you create in the others when you do it successfully.
Yeah.
So we want to talk a little bit about how you do that. So first of all, create space. What do I mean by that, creating space? Well, it gives opportunity for them to be there. You're making an opening for them individually. It's not just anyone. You're creating space for that individual. Hey, I want you here. I want you by my side. Here, partner with me on this, right? You're creating space. They're at the table. They're spitting out ideas. Let's write that idea down. That's a good one. Oh, yep, that one. Call it, hey, John, good idea. I like that one. Steve, yep, that one's good too. So that's creating space is the first thing that comes to my mind when you want to start empowering them. Secondly, you just got to give them a seat at the table, right? It's kind of similar to creating space, but you got to make room for them at the table that they have a voice, right? That you hear that voice, you understand that voice, and you take that voice into consideration as you're moving forward on your project, your event, or what have you. And, not everybody's going to have a winner idea, home run out of the gate to really drive the business or organizational goals or objectives, but that you've created space that they can come to that table. Remember at Thanksgiving, I don't know about you, growing up, it was the adult table, right? And then us kids, we were over at the kids' table, which was fine by me because I wanted to go watch Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, so I was hurrying up to eat.
Nobody wants to talk politics.
Right. So, but imagine that as you aged, you're too old to be at the kids' table now. You're at the adult table. That moment that when you go, oh, I'm at the adult table now. That is what we're talking about, is giving them a seat at the table, is that they feel that sense of belonging that they can speak into whatever you're working on. So give them a seat at the table. And then thirdly, you and I have talked about this a little bit too. Helping them find their sweet spot. What are their gifts? What are their talents? What are their abilities? Ask questions. Listen to their answers. What do others compliment them on? What are they doing well? What are they proud of? What most moments in their life are they proud of? Recently, gave annual performance reviews for the employees of our church, and one young lady I gave this exact advice to is, what are you most proud of and what do people compliment you on the most? That is going to lean you into your sweet spot of things that you do well, that you can look for opportunities to step forward in those areas again in the future. And success breeds success. It really does. So as you're empowering someone, you're empowering them, and then it's that snowball effect. They become more and more empowered as they get successful in doing it. So creating that opportunity. So create space, give them a seat at the table, help them find their sweet spot. And fourthly, find and create opportunities for them to exercise that. And that may mean creating something from scratch. It may mean turning over a specific role to them, right, where they can participate. It can be a variety of things, but find and create opportunities for them to exercise that sweet spot. Patrick Lencioni has a new book out called The Working Genius, where he dives into this very well and very specifically. Maybe it's another book review we'll do in the future.
Yeah.
But if you want a recommendation to get an idea or a handle around this, go check out Working Genius. It's really good, really good. So, and here's a quote from Vanessa Boris. People are empowered when they are in charge of their own work and feel they can make a real contribution to the organization. That is when they're empowered, right? When they are in charge of their own work and feel like they can make a contribution. And I just talked to you about this before we started recording. One of the most empowering experiences I've had in my workplace happened during the pandemic. We were in shutdown mode. The retail stores were closed, right? And we had a lot of retail employees with no place to go. And we had other openings and opportunities growing as a result over here in this corner of the business. So we said, we looked for volunteers. Hey, would you want to come and work on this from your homes or until we get released from our lockdown? Well, they needed to set up an emergency manager who's going to be in charge of these people as they come in. And I was graciously selected, one of the few, to be in that temporary management structure. And was putting the train tracks down in front of the train as we were going. We were making things up. And the whole atmosphere was, you have an idea? What can we do to help you to get that up and going, right? It was that so empowering. I came up with an idea of some leadership development among these young people who are thirsty for being leaders, right? So we set up a whole leadership, not alone. I did not do this alone. It was a team I was part of, an amazing team, a lot of great ideas they brought to the table about how they can develop. We have leadership attributes. We focus at work. How can I improve in this area? Let me journal about that. And then we did a leadership book club, and then everything went back to normal. Stores opened back up, people went back into their roles. And I tell you, it was over a year after that opening back up and going back to normal, I still had people reaching out to me going, Bill, thank you so much for that book club. I just got a promotion because of what I learned in that. And that made me feel so empowered that I was able to contribute like that. That is what we're talking about. That is empowerment. I felt like I was in charge of my own work, and I felt like I was making a real contribution in the process. Yeah. So it's powerful stuff. So
I remember when I took the current position that I'm in right now, coming into it, and usually when you take a position that was previously taken, you kind of be a fly on the wall for a little bit to see, what it is that could be the healthy changes that this organization may need. How is it that I can empower these, these folks that are here with me on my team. And the team ended up coming to me and begging for some things to change. And I realized that, this right here is a moment of opportunity for empowering this team, but also, through that art of creating space, giving them a seat at the table. And after I did that, fast forward some months where I said, okay, what is it? I took some notes. What is it you want to do? How do you think it'll help? And I took some of these notes down and came back and said, okay, let's do this. Let's put these things into motion. Fast forward a year or two, and that was one of their biggest praises for for me. When it came time, when I asked them, hey, how am I doing as a leader? Can I do some self-reflecting? And that was one of the things that they still mention it, what is it, 5-6 years later, the fact that I think one of my leaders said, you kind of just gave us authority to do things. Like you put the ball in our court. You don't tell us no. You ask, how can I help you get there?
Yeah.
Type of a thing. And so that I agree with you 100%.
That was a real watershed moment.
It really is
when it comes to empowering them.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And so if you want to empower people, anytime you can, especially if you have somewhat of seasoned leaders underneath of you, those who have a little bit of experience and you can really trust, them with a little bit more responsibility, it lends itself really nice.
This isn't in our notes, by the way. It's off the cuff question for you.
Sure.
But did you feel any fear, concern about empowering them to bring these things to the table?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fear in reservation, empowering others is not void of that.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a hint of, is this going to work? Is my job at risk here? Is this going to...
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're trying to add value to people.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I think I played a little bit of the risk factor math in my mind and just said every bit of this is probably worth it.
Yeah.
What have I got to lose? And so I was able to do that. But.
And you had the backing of your leadership at the time when you did it too.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I had the right, which was huge. Because there's always a hint of that.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a good call out, Bill. Those who were with me in leadership at my level were all behind. Just do what you need to do.
Yeah.
We're here for you. We're supporting you. So that was huge too.
Yeah. So, and talking about how to empower others, last one we talked about is finding great opportunities for them to exercise their sweet spots.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, go back and watch our episode on delegation.
Follow the art.
Follow the art of delegation. When you're delegating things to someone, you're giving them your trust.
Yeah, delegation precedes empowerment.
Absolutely.
In many ways.
Absolutely.
You can drop hints and be empowering with your conversation and things like that.
Brings it to a deeper level.
It really does.
Yeah. You can give verbal affirmation, confidence, way to go, good job, you're really good at this.
Right.
But when you say, here, go do this, they're like, who, me? What? Me. Yeah, you're capable. I believe in you. You're more than able to do this. That's empowering.
Yeah, the praise and the encouragement must give birth to delegation.
It must.
Because if it doesn't, you're going to be stuck with, oh, here comes Mr. Happy Pants again, always telling us how wonderful we are, then never trusting us with anything. You're going to birth resentment if you don't allow the praise and encouragement to birth delegation.
Absolutely. All right, so number 5, follow the art of delegation. Go back and watch. It's a good episode.
It is a good episode.
Yeah. And lastly, number 6, give up what falls into the sweet spot of others. I don't know about you, but as a leader, there's some things that are my pet projects that fall in with my skill set or just near my skill set that I want to hold on to, or I'm afraid it's not my skill set, but I'm going to do it a lot better than they are. Mm-hmm. I don't want to let go of that. So to be leaders that empower others, there has to be a letting go. There really does.
I'm watching my fellow pastor at the church that I serve at. We do this church-wide camp out every year, usually in June or July. We have a church-wide camp out.
Good
and
example.
Foad is his name. I don't think you mind if I dropped his name, but he has been doing this camp out now for a number of years. Mm-hmm. It's his favorite thing, I think, that happens at our church. And we shut down Sunday service, and we're at the campground, and we have a whole weekend together. People come and pitch tents. They back in their RVs. It's just awesome. We have games for the kids. Then we have a session, on Friday and a couple on Saturday, and with this food, and it's just amazing. But Foad is like the number one person that makes this weekend happen. And wouldn't you know it, one of the folks in our church went and got engaged. And she done lives out in Wyoming. Yep. And we're out here on the East Coast. And so he couldn't say no to going out there. Of course, who says no to going out west for a trip, But anyway, so he has to be out there, therefore can't be here. And he's learning really what it means to just say, hey, this is my sweet spot. This is what I do really well. But for the sake of of empowering others, giving others a seat at the table, creating space, it's kind of forcing his hand and it's killing him. But he's doing really well.
He does. Yeah, he surrendered it very, very well.
Right.
But,
And I say all that to say sometimes giving up what falls into the sweet spot of others is giving up what falls in your own.
yeah.
And that's what Foad's doing really well. And so he's now looking for the sweet spots in others that can kind of take this and run with it. And that hurts because
It's his passion project.
he's
this
a great
weekend.
chef and he's
Yeah,
making
he
all the
is.
food. And
Yeah.
it's like, he's just really, really good at this. But again, it's one thing he needs to let go of in a way.
But now it's given opportunity for others to step up, to be keynote speakers at the event, organize things. So it's empowering others in the process. So.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. So, Jared, you got a couple of quotes there?
Yeah, Vanessa Boris again. She says the best leaders make the purposeful choice to empower everyone they lead, whoever they are, wherever they are. When they do, individuals flourish and the group works like a well-oiled machine. A great call out for the wherever and whoever they are, right? Some of us are in bigger organizations, right? And so you got kind of a lot of people you're supposed to be connecting with. And, that whole art of empowerment, I love how Vanessa uses the word purposeful. You have to make it, you have to do this on purpose.
Intentionality.
This isn't something you can do accidentally.
Yeah.
You want to make it kind of part of your lifeblood as a leader to be able to empower other people, so that you're actually just doing it out of secondhand nature, so to speak. But when you're birthing this even in yourself, it's got to be on purpose. It's got to be intentional.
Yeah.
And then I cannot pronounce this guy's name. I think it's
It's a gal, actually.
a
Looked her
girl.
up. Yeah.
Yes. I think it's Farah Abu Hamadan. I don't know if I'm even saying that even close to right. It's Hamaidan. So I'll spell it for you. You can look her up. But she has this quote that we really like. She says, "When you prime others, you are transferring authority and knowledge to them. You are allowing them to share the load, giving them the opportunity to lead themselves. This fosters an environment where people can understand their successes and learn from their failures. An environment of trust. In empowering them, you're ultimately working toward the day when you can hand over the torch and allow them to experience the same thing."
Yeah.
Such a good few sentences there.
Yeah, learning from failures, that's so key. When you're empowering others, maybe you want to set them up to, start small, fail early, and then adjust so to help them learn through this process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love how she says, she starts this whole bit here by saying, you are transferring authority. Transferring authority, right? Which again, we've talked about
go.
that, letting go. You've reached a level of trust. Now it's time to exercise it. And that is empowering other people.
Yeah. The art of delegation. Go watch.
For sure.
Jeez.
For sure.
It's good stuff. So, yeah, we're going to go back to our favorite leader, once again, John Maxwell. A couple of things he has to say about empowering others.
I think I'll just call this out for what it is. We use Maxwell quite a bit on this podcast here for two reasons. One, we like the guy. Okay, we just like him. But two, he's extremely successful. So when you find a leader who is as successful as John Maxwell for as long as he has been doing this, you're going to hear him on this channel quite often.
Yep. And it works. His stuff just works. I've read so many of his books, and there's been so few where I say, well, that ain't going to happen. That won't work.
Yeah. It's just it's relatable and it's easy to understand.
It is. Anyways, John, he says the law of empowerment. He has a book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Classic book on leadership. Highly recommend it.
For sure.
One of the laws is the law of empowerment. And the law of empowerment says that only secure leaders give power to others. So are you secure?
Right.
Are you secure enough yourself as a leader to be able to empower others? Yeah. That's a good question to be asking. Yeah. So purpose, authenticity, and humility give us a secure, stable base from which to lead. Yeah. So being authentic, being purposeful, being humble creates that secureness in us. as leaders so we can empower, transfer,
Right. Transfer power.
power over
authority.
someone else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
John calls this out. He says that Rick Warren teaches this. He teaches a humble leader doesn't deny his strengths. He's simply honest about his limitations.
That's good.
Humble leaders feel no need to trumpet their status, are unthreatened by criticism, and revel in the accomplishments of others. They put their pride aside so others have room, make space. They have room to shine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It really is. I mean, we could beat this point to death, but we're talking real simple here. The art of empowering people, and there has to be a level of that humility to say, you know what, it's time to serve as a resource for other people.
and
And
it takes security. You got to be secure
You
in yourself to be able to turn that over.
you can't do it if you're insecure. It's not going to happen.
So, some questions John gives to consider when it comes to being secure. A secure leader who can empower, transfer authority. Number one, what power do you possess that you could be shared, or that you could be shared with someone else? What power do you possess that you could share with someone else? Right. And two, what obstacles might you have to overcome in order to be willing to give your power away?
I want to throw in a parenting example because we do that often here.
No,
The Value
we've
Added
never done that
Podcast.
before
Yeah,
here.
Exactly. Think of this when you're talking about, transferring authority, again, through the lens of empowering other people. This is parenting 101. I'm looking at, for instance, my teenage girls. It's like, man, I could clean this bathroom so much faster. Like I could load the dishwasher so much quicker and more efficiently. I could clean my own truck and just pay for her cell phone.
Yeah.
But again, sometimes when you're transferring things, it's for the betterment and the adding of value to the person of which you've transferred it to. They're never going to learn. They're never going to have opportunity. They're never going to have space. They're never going to feel empowered if you don't create those opportunities. And some of those things, translate from parenting right into the workplace, right into the organization.
Same principle.
It's the same exact thing. I want to see this person come from this level to this level. What do I need to do to get them from this level to that level? One of those things is knowing how to empower them, right? Because sometimes motivation comes in. That's probably another one for another episode. But when we're talking about simple empowerment, gotta be secure as a leader. You gotta be able to transfer some authority.
I remember the first time as a young leader in the corporate world, my boss said, "Hey, I'm going to go on vacation and you're going to cover me while I'm out."
Yeah, big
I'm like,
deal. Yeah,
really?
Big deal.
Me? He says, "Yeah, you're more incapable. You can do this." I'm like, "Seriously? Who, me?" "Yes, you. Now shut up and do it."
Yeah, exactly. Shut up, do it.
So, and what a wonderful experience, and it helped to start in me a pattern of successes by starting small and growing each time in those successes. There were failures along the way, but because I had that pattern of success behind me, that helped me to feel like I'm capable, I'm able. When someone came back and handed me over someone else's team, I got this, not a problem. Yeah. So that art of empowering really has an impact. It had an impact on me in growing me and making me feel confident and capable.
Yeah.
So
and I would say too that these three parts in this series. Today we're doing the art of empowerment. We just came out of the art of the delegation.
Delegation was before that. One,
art of feedback. So these kind of go hand in hand. You're talking about the art of delegation, the art of feedback, and the art of empowering. They kind of go together. And so when you're empowering someone, one of the things that's hard for me to do is, like, especially when I give them something that I could have done better myself.
Quicker, faster, more efficient.
And I have to think back, I have to sit back and say, well, define better. Because there's a lot of things in my definition of better that are simply just the way Jared does things. And they don't matter in the long run for the goal being met.
And there's been times people have surprised me and have
Right.
done it better than I ever dreamed.
Exactly right. So
Or I could have
you
done it.
kind of got to be secure enough to realize, hey, I would have done it this way.
Yeah.
Right. And just for your own personal growth to understand that, again, we're adding value to this person. And, you know, for me, one of the lessons I've learned is it can be super encouraging when somebody else surpasses even your own ability in certain areas.
Yeah.
And you can look at that and say, I played a part in that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking again, we mentioned Foad before, but he's been a part of an organization that has worked with hundreds and thousands of people around the world, actually. And he still has friendships that are from, 30 years ago. He still has people now that own their own businesses, that are CEOs, and they'll still keep in touch and email and say, "Fo, man, your influence on me has led to where I am today."
Yeah.
I mean, he could be in his office jealous about the money they're making and the success they're having.
not.
But he's not. He just revels in the whole accomplishment and of other people that he got to play a part simply because he learned the art of empowering other people.
He helped them rise to their level of giftedness was capable of allowing them to be.
Exactly.
Right. And having a piece of that,
Yeah.
being part of that journey.
It's huge.
It's fun. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. So here's a challenge. We're going to wrap this up. We're going to give you a challenge. Again, this is our application challenge. And it's simply a question for you to think through. And again, we're fans of, hey, write some things down, like journal some things.
Yeah.
And kind of self-reflect about this one. But because the whole idea is we want to become leaders who have the ability. We know, we understand, and we're practicing the art of empowering other people. But so the question then really becomes, what do I need to do differently to become a leader who can empower others?
Ooh.
So Bill and I got some homework to do. We're going to be thinking through this week as well. Hey, what are some things I can do a little bit differently to help promote empowering other people?
Yeah. Is there a character aspect I need to improve in myself?
Is there something I can let go of?
Yeah.
Delegate
Yeah.
to someone else?
So a good question to think about this week.
Is there feedback I need to give? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
So good luck with that. Definitely drop us a comment, a like, an email. Let us know if you did it, if it helped you, and how you're doing and how you're growing as a leader yourself.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
All right.
Take
Thanks for
care.
joining us.